Hello everybody and welcome back to Cask and Point. Today we're going to be trying Found North's new Batch 11. So if you're not familiar with Found North, they're a non-distilling producer that sources old Canadian whiskeys, usually corn whiskeys, malt whiskeys, rye whiskeys, sometimes even a wheat whiskey, and then they blend them all together and make this final concoction that is typically really good. I've reviewed several batches here on the channel, 09, 10, their last two batches, as well as all of their special releases, and I've been a big fan of everything that I've tried from Found North, so I'm really excited here to try Batch 11, and I do want to thank Found North. They did send me this media sample, so really grateful here. This is the first media sample we have here on the channel, and I don't really intend to have too many media samples here because I only really want to do them for the companies that I really already enjoy, because you guys know me, I'm going to give some very honest opinions here, and I don't want to have to kind of say that a whiskey is better than it really is because it's free and all this other stuff, so I don't want to mess with any of that, but I do like Found North, and we're going to throw it into a blind here today, so I don't even know which one this is, Batch 11, so it's possible it's going to lose. We're going to find out. But before I begin, I do want to introduce some more information of Batch 11. For one, they do have the lottery tomorrow. It's April 1st, 12 p.m. EST. If you want to get a bottle, it's $165, and I believe the lottery will give you a chance of around 30 or 40%. That's all personal opinion. I don't actually know the numbers, but if you want to have a pretty decent shot at getting a bottle, definitely enter that lotto. But maybe watch this review first and see if it's worth it. But let's introduce Found North Batch 11 a little. Now, I do have all the information from their website here printed right on their website, and it says Batch 11's profile is the closest we have made to Batch 2. In many ways, Batch 11 revisits the heritage of Found North. You might think Batch 1 is our origin, but it was simply the first whiskey we made. And Batch 2 much more accurately represents the seeds of what Found North has become. When we started Found North, our plan was to make rye-dominant blends. Accordingly, Batch 1 was 66% rye, 30% corn, and 4% malted barley. However, while creating Batch 2, we continued to iterate and found that our best blend was 80% corn, 19% rye, and 1% malted barley. It was a delightful batch and recharted the course of Found North. Since releasing Batch 1 and Batch 2, we have made one blend akin to Batch 1, and 6 blends with similar profiles and grain ratios to Batch 2. Batch 2 reverberates through the history of Found North. The excellence of Batch 2 was not in the dynamism of the blend itself, it only contained 3 components, but rather it was rooted in the richness and elegance of how the flavor complements one another, creating a wholly new expression of flavor. Paying homage to Batch 2, Batch 11 pursues excellence by melding together 9 component whiskeys in order to enliven flavors that are balanced and rich. While it is a complex blend, it has a simple goal: achieve harmony and vibrancy in its wood, vanilla, and spice. Wow, so 9 different components here. That's a lot. It's typically 5 or 6. Batch 11 is composed of 6 corn components, 2 rye, and a new wood cask of Peregrine First Flight. If our goal is to balance 3 different flavor qualities, why such a complex blend? The answer is layering. By using 18, 23, and 24-year-old corn components aged in new wood, as well as a cask of Peregrine aged in new wood, we get multiple expressions of wood, sugar, and baking spice. It is like a quartet of voices singing in the same note across multiple octaves, adding depth and profound unity to the composition. For the same reason, we used 18, 20, and 24-year corn in ex-bourbon to round out the vanilla character, and 2 19-year rye to balance out the hibiscus spice qualities. Wow, that's really interesting. And then they have a section called Key Component here, and it says the key component in the Found North batch is a particular component or combination of components within a blend that represents the heart of the batch. Batch 11, we identified the Peregrine New Wood Cask as the key component, but really it was all 4 new wood components working together that shaped this blend and gave it its qualities reminiscent of Batch 2. So I haven't tried Batch 2 here, but we're going to try Batch 11 here today. And we have a blind, we have Batch 7, Batch 10, Batch 11. Batch 10 was a wheated bourbon, so I kind of wanted to see, is Batch 11 really all that? And we're going to compare it here to 2 other batches that I think have had some pretty positive reviews. I've thought very highly of. Let's get right into it here with glass number 1. Wow, a lot of plum and cherry on this one. Really rich oak, really nice baking spice, really nice vanilla. Wow, really well crafted. Let's try it. Interesting. A lot of flavor on this one. Definitely a bit spicier on the palate there. I think it opened up with a lot of really rich fruit, and then that mid palate was just very spicy, and then it kind of eased into some vanilla and some cherry on the late palate there. That's a really good pour of whiskey. Wow. I really like Found North. I found them to be some of my favorite Canadian whiskeys, and I'm not just saying that because they sent me the free sample, but yeah, this is a very good pour here. I can't really tell the proof on it, but I expect that all the 3 are around 125. I believe this is a little bit higher, actually. Yeah, this is actually close to 130. It's 129.8. So most of their batches have been closer to, I believe, 124, 125. So Definitely on the higher end, which is interesting because Canadian whiskeys can get really high. They don't follow the same rules of bourbon where they have to enter the barrel at 125 proof. And so you have Canadian whiskeys that end up at like 160, even 170 proof sometimes. So I've always been interested as to how Found North really, really likes their older whiskeys that are also lower in proof. But this at 130 proof is getting up there. But anyways, this pour is very, very good. Let's take a second sip. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, actually on this second sip, really nice caramel and maple on the mid palate there. Definitely still have a lot of spice there, but I think it opened up with that fruit. It got into more caramel and vanilla than I was expecting on the mid palate, and then towards actually the mid-late palate, it got into that spice. And then the vanilla came back a little bit towards the finish on that one. That's a really nice pour of whiskey. Wow, that's good. Let's move on to glass number 2. Glass number 2 here, very sweet on the nose. A lot of vanilla. Kind of like wheat characteristics on this. I mean, just immediately this smells like batch 10 to me. It's really nice. Wow, very fruity. Oh yeah, very rich flavor profile on this one. Definitely smells hotter than it is. Really nice oak presence as well and some baking spice. And there really is a lot of depth of character on this. Let's take a sip. That's good. That's good. Surprisingly soft compared to that first glass here, which isn't a bad thing, but it's definitely more mellow. Definitely getting a lot of really soft vanilla on that one, some nice brown sugar on that one, some nice cherry on that one. It's a really sweet batch. It's actually not really giving me any of the spice, where I actually, on glass number 1, I got quite a bit of spice. I was pretty surprised by that spice. I haven't gotten that much spice on most of the Found North products. Helldiver was very spicy to me. I think besides that, most of the recent batches haven't been all that spicy, but that one definitely is. But this is very nice, very, very sweet on this one, which kind of means it lacks a little bit of complexity compared to glass 1, because glass 1 gives you that sweetness, but I don't know. To me, this is very reminiscent of batch 10, but I don't like to guess too much in the reviews, so I'm not going to say that anymore. To me, yeah, this is very sweet, very vanilla forward. Let's take a second sip. Very good. Very good. Medium finish. Maybe even a medium long finish. Those really good fruity flavors just stay in the glass super, super long here. That's a great batch. Let's go on to glass number 3. Really rich oak on this one. This one isn't really jumping out with as much flavor. There's a little bit of cherry, a little bit of oak on this one. Wow. That's interesting. Off the nose, this is not nearly as enjoyable as the other two. Wow, this is interesting. Let's take a sip. Okay, it's kind of mellow, like glass 2. But then the flavor profile is actually more similar to glass 3. So glass 2, it's more mellow, but you have so much sweetness on it that maybe you can get by the fact that it's mellow. But this glass 3 has a lot of that really strong spice in it. But it does have some caramel, some maple, some cherry, all that stuff. But honestly, I find the flavor profile of glass 2 to probably be my favorite, but I like how robust and complex glass 1 is. And to me, this gives me that flavor profile of glass 1 that I do like a little bit less, but then the mellowness of glass 2 kind of has the worst of both worlds on this glass. This is interesting. I hope this isn't the batch 11. Oh man, that would be interesting if it is. Let's take a second sip here. Yeah, spicy. It's good. It's very fruity. But then towards the mid palate, I mean, it starts off with that fruit, and then it just gets into this nutmeg, this cinnamon. There's a lot of oak on that one. Definitely a little bit of tobacco on that one towards the late palate. It's good, but to me, you have so much more of an enjoyable flavor profile. And honestly, both of the other two, I mean, it's more similar to glass 1 than it is to glass 2, but even then, it's just not as good as either of them to me. I'll take a third sip here. I'll give it a rating. We'll give everything else a rating, and then we'll find out what we're having. It's good. It's good. It's very good. Very good. I'm going to rate that a 7.8. Probably my least favorite batch that I've had so far, but it's still very, very good. At 7.8, I'd pay $150 for that bottle. I wouldn't pay too much more than that, but I think $150 is pretty fair. But let's go back to glass 2 and glass 1. Yeah, very sweet on this one, very vanilla forward. I'd be surprised if this wasn't the wheat batch, but it might not be. I don't know. Let's take a sip. Very sweet, very good. This finish is at least medium length, but it really, really stays in your mouth. You also have a lot of heat that stays in your mouth as well. Man, that's very good. I'm gonna rate that an 8.2. I like it a good bit more than glass number 3. Let's go back to glass number 1. Man, to me, this has a lot of those characteristics that I like out of both of the glasses. It has the vanilla, the rye spice, the cherry, the oak, all these other elements on it. Wow, that's really good. Let's take the sip. Interesting, very rich. Wow, very good batch. I like it more than glass number 2. I'm gonna give it an 8.3. It's not that much better. It's different, and actually going back to it ended up having a lot of that sweetness that I got out of glass 2, but so much more robust flavors. I hope this is batch 11, but if one of these other batches are batch 11, I guess we'll find out. I give honest reviews here on the channel, so we'll find out. Let's get right into it here. So number 3 here was in last. Number 3 is batch number 7. Okay. So I thought that was the weird. I was hoping that was batch 11. We'll see. But all right, let's see. Glass number 2 here was in second for me, and that is batch 10. Interesting. Okay, so yeah, okay, batch number 11 won. I'm not sure if that's a good thing, because I guess I was kind of hoping that it wouldn't be in first place, so that you guys know that this was a legitimate blind. But yeah, I don't know, that batch 10. Very good, very sweet, very vanilla forward. I think this batch 11 though, I mean, man, this is good. Really robust in the flavor profile here, yeah, really good. I like the proof. I'm a proof hound myself. I like that this is 130 proof. That batch 7, definitely worse than the other two, but honestly, between batch 10 and 11, I could go either way, but I think it's a very, very good batch here. So just sit, really give some final notes on this one. Yeah, so good. So good on this one. I like that a lot. Going back to batch 10 a little bit. Wow, so much richness on this one. Man, that's really close. I could go either way. I could really go either way. Those are really, really good. But anyways, that's batch 11. I think this is a buy at $165. I wouldn't pay secondary on this. If the secondary is going to end up being $250 or $300, I wouldn't pay that. If your liquor store is paying that near you, I wouldn't pay that, but at $165, I think it's well worth it. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the review. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and catch you all in the next one.